of the Joyful and Merry lights look a little not blue in the thing because of the lights. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Happy New Year. We'll wait a few minutes here before we get started. We actually got a minute or two. So I just wanted to make sure that I was ready and everything's working right. Happy to see you all. Be sure and let us know where you're from. If you have a minute right now, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that. Also, if you're new here, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Let us know in the comments if you're a first timer, because we always enjoy welcoming new members to our group, to our Joyful and Merry Quilting community. We are happy to have you here. Daytime Hangout is always a lot of fun. And so is nighttime hangout. The night owl quilting is always fun too. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, what our plans are for the new year, and just talk quilting. That is my favorite topic. I can't get enough of it. And I'm so glad to have all of you here to listen to me so that I can talk about quilting, which is my absolute favorite, as I said, subject. So anyway. Hi, Debbie, first timer, welcome. We're very happy to have you here. I have my husband helping me with the comments because the way my computer is set up, I'm a little too far away to be able to type legibly. So he helps me, and I can't always see all the comments. Sometimes they scroll kind of fast and I miss what you've said. So if you say something or ask a question that I don't answer, please email Mary at joyfulandmerryquilting.com. I will do my very best to answer any questions you have. Like I say, sometimes I miss them. He tries to let me know, and Alex is also listening. They try and let me know if there's anything that I need to answer within the session, but we miss things occasionally when comments go by quickly. So anyway, it's 11:01, so let's get started. Once again, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to Joyful and Merry Quilting, to our daytime quilting hangout. Now, this is a fun time where we can just gather together here, and usually I'll just explain things a little bit to you. 2025, we're going to do things a little bit different, not much, but we still have our sessions scheduled as before, the first and the third Wednesday at 11 a.m. Now, you'll notice, of course, this is a little different this time just because of the holiday, and that kind of messes things up. So what I try and do is let you know in our Thursday newsletters when everything is going to happen. Well, I made a mistake last time. Thank you to Judy for bringing that to my attention. But it was a little late because I had the weeks 1 week off. So I'm hoping that doesn't mean that I've missed a lot of you. If you're watching the replay, I'm really sorry that you missed the original live because of my error. But the new newsletter will have the corrected dates in there this Thursday. So if you're not on our mailing list, go to joyfulandmerryquilting.com and enter your email address. That's all you have to enter. And then that way you'll be notified when we have any new content, anything's happening, a live, that sort of thing. We send that out. We don't oversend, but we do have a really great workshop. So it's free. If you are new to quilting or you just want to refresh your skills, maybe learn something new, if you sign up, it'll say watch on our joyfulandmerryquilting.com website. It'll say watch free workshop. And once you click on that, then you will be actually one of our members. You'll have a library where when you click on the library, there are 5 quilting tips in the workshop with videos and accompanying PDFs. And then we just, I talk to you about just different things that are important to quilters when it comes to precision. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. We would love to have you. As I said, it's free. It's just something that we offer to new quilters to kind of, just let you know where I'm coming from, give you an idea of how I teach, what it is that's important to me, and what I'd like to introduce you to when it comes to quilting. So anyway, that's that. First of all, I am so sorry to those of you on the West Coast, especially those that are in the area of the fires. What a terrible, terrible thing. And, you know, as a representative of Project Linus, there are many, many occasions where disasters strike throughout our country. And of course, as soon as we are able, we rush to the aid of those children that might be affected with the gift of a handmade quilt. We did a video not too long ago, just talking about disaster relief. If you haven't watched it, you may want to. But again, right now, the main focus is getting those people safe. That's what the first responders are doing, and they are trying to put out those fires. So that's what our main focus is right now. What can we do? I mean, we can pray for those who are affected. We can keep them in our thoughts, and hopefully they will not only be safe, they will get to a place of safety, and they'll be able to deal with this terrible, terrible tragedy. And if there's any support that we can give them in any possible way, we would love to be able to do that. Although, you know, what can you do in such a situation? So just want you to know, if any of you are on here that are close to the area, or you have family in the area, please let them know that, you know, as much, we would love to take it all away if we could. And I'm sure all of you would as well. So anyway, that's where our thoughts are at this time. And we'll just keep watching. Next thing, our next daytime quilting hangout, I said there was a mistake. It's in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today. That would be January 22nd, 11 a.m. Central Time. Keep those time zones in mind, because those can mess us up, but 11 a.m. Central Time. So we will do that. I've kind of decided, you know, now that we've been doing this a year, I've been trying to focus on getting organized, which January is my favorite time of the year. I love January. I love Monday. I love the first of the month. I love all those beginnings, because I feel like with those beginnings, we can do something new and start fresh. I hate starting in the middle of something. I like to start fresh. And for some reason, you know, Mondays or the first of the year or the first of the month is that day that I choose to do that sort of thing. So we've been kind of looking at the Joyful and Merry quilting community and what way we can best serve each of you. The 11 a.m. daytime quilting is really something that has worked for those who are home, that are able, that are in a time zone where this is a doable time. And then the night owl quilting has been more for those who stay up late like me, or those who maybe work during the day or have children responsibilities, and then they can kind of relax at night and work on the nighttime quilting. That is on the first and the third, that's on the second and the fourth Mondays of the month at 9 p.m. Central Time. So we have the first and the third Wednesdays, daytime quilting, second and the fourth Mondays, night owl quilting. If there's a holiday in the month, check the calendar, because there easily could be a change, or we could not have our live session depending on what's going on, or if I'm on vacation or whatever. So we try our best to do everything. Now, one of the things that I wanted to focus on Wednesdays is product review, whether it's a product, maybe it's a new technique, something that I can bring to you that you might want to take a look at. Maybe you don't want to go out and buy it until you see if it's worth it. I try and test those products. And I get lots of emails from our Joyful and Merry community members with product selections. Well, I got one that we're going to be talking about today, and I'll get into that a little bit more. But it was a suggestion from one of our viewers, from one of our channel members, and I am very excited about this. When it's one of those things that you look at it and you think, should I buy this or not? Well, I'm going to show you what I think of it in a minute, and then so that will be our Wednesday, kind of a general review of the product. But then we're going to put that into action during our night owl quilting on Monday nights. So if you like the product, that'll give you enough time to either get it or just get prepared for whatever technique or whatever we're doing. You'll be able to be prepared by the time we have night owl quilting. Now, maybe you don't want to stay up late for the night owl quilting, depending on your time zone. You can watch it on replay. And when you do that, then you can also stop and start everything. And if there's some, question you might have or whatever, you could go back and look at it again and make sure that you get things right. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now, some of the products that we have, I'm going to do actually a Tuesday tips video on that as well, where it's just kind of like all together. So it's not me fumbling through sometimes a live where we're trying to get everything adjusted in the camera. We'll have that all ready. So if it's a product that I feel like we need to have some really concise instruction, we'll do that also, and I'll let you know about that. So I'm just really excited to finally kind of get a focus on what we're doing and how I can better bring quilting to each of you, and we'll see how it goes. So first of all, I want to introduce you to the 2025 scrapbusting season. January and February that's at Joyful and Merry Quilting. It's scrapbusting season. And I don't know if you remember last year, I gave you a scrapbusting handout, which I've revised, and we'll get into that in a bit. And we had a pattern with instructions for this particular quilt. This was our Embracing Our Scraps quilt. I love this quilt. This is one of my favorite quilts. I think, first of all, because I love scraps and I like the way it looks. But second of all, I don't know about you, but I like organized scraps. Now that sounds bizarre, but I have trouble with just putting all kinds of fabrics together, you know, willy-nilly, and having them come out looking the way that I want them to. I like them to be organized. I don't necessarily organize by color, but I do organize by designer a lot of times, because then everything for me in my mind matches. The other thing that I do is I like to bring everything together by having some kind of a background fabric that breaks up the scraps. So when you look at any of the patterns that I create for scrapbusting season, or just any others that I've designed, you'll see that that's kind of a favorite technique of mine, just to organize my scraps a bit. Okay, so here's my scraps. I talked about this in our last video, or I mean in our last year's scrapbusting. I tell everybody, don't get a big huge tub and fill it up with scraps and then decide to scrap bust. You know why? Because you're not going to do it. Probably will end up throwing away the scraps, giving away the scraps, using them as stuffing for something, because it's just too overwhelming. So this is my scrap bin. Okay, I will be honest with you. This is my Riley Blake scrap bin. I use a lot of Riley Blake and Lori Holt fabrics. I love them. They are my favorite. This particular quilt, it's all Riley Blake and Lori Holt, who works for Riley Blake. It's all their fabrics. So I've been doing this for, years and years. Riley Blake, I don't know how long they've been in existence, but as soon as I discovered them, they were a favorite of mine. And I, have a lot of my scraps, as you can see, are in this bin. Now, some of them are bigger scraps. Some of them are little scraps. I have all kinds. But we're going to scrap bust for a particular pattern. That's just the way I do it. I just feel like if I'm going to scrap bust, I got to have something come out of it. I don't just want to cut up a bunch of pieces and put them back in the closet and then never look at them again, because that's where they're going to end up. They're never going to go anywhere. I always come up with a new project or something new that I want to do, and I forget about that bin that I have with all those great pieces. So I will, as we begin our scrapbusting season, this is just kind of a little preview, I'll give you the handout where you can actually do some scrapbusting, and we will, once you've kind of figured out where you want to go, I will also, if you're in our challenge, if you elect to participate in the challenge, we will specifically scrap bust certain pieces and sizes. So I'm going to tell you that, which leads me to what I have behind me, which is this year's pattern. This is our pattern. It's called Discovering Stars Among the Scraps. And you can see that this is what we have here. These are the stars. These are the scraps. They are all my Riley Blake scraps that I have, set aside, cut up, put into pieces. I am going to show you 3 different ways that you can create a quilt similar to this, and it's going to be perfect. Now, when I say perfect, that's kind of my thing. I work really hard on making sure that my points don't just match, they really match. They really line up. I want to make sure that when I put these together, that I am happy with the result. but I don't want to kill myself over it. I don't want to go crazy trying to get it all lined up and ripping out and doing it again. So I try and find ways that I can pass on to you that's going to give you a perfect block without a whole lot of effort, just if you follow the steps. So that's what I'm hoping happens here. So let's talk a little bit. It's, as I said, it's called Discovering Stars Among the Scraps Challenge. It's our 2025 challenge. It's a 30-day challenge. So in 30 days, you'll have the quilt top done. You might have the whole quilt done. I don't know. But in 30 days, you will have and it's a large quilt. It's going to be close to 70 by close to 90, about twins, maybe a little more than twin size. But you can make it smaller if you want. You don't have to make it as large as I did. And it's really, really fun to do. So I want to make sure that when we do the challenge that everybody is engaged and that we all work together. So I'm going to tell you some of the things that we're going to do just ahead of time. First of all, we're going to, at Night Owl Quilting, on the next, our Night Owl Quilting meeting on the 13th, I think I said it was, yeah. We're going to have we're going to introduce the Scrapbusting challenge with pre-sale. Now, if you did the Joyful and Merry Quilting 12 Blocks of Christmas, you know what that means. You get a little better deal. If you sign up ahead of time, you got to trust me. It's going to be so much fun. You don't need to buy any fabric for this. You're going to use fabric from your stash. That's the whole point. So yes, you will purchase the pattern, the challenge, the workshop. But it will definitely be worth it to you. And it's so much fun when we get together and do this. So that's part of it. It starts then, we'll have regular registration open on Blue Monday. So what's Blue Monday? The saddest, most depressing day of the year, supposedly. I love Mondays, so nothing's going to be blue for me. But if you go on what the marketing companies say, I guess for what happens is on Blue Monday, January 20th, it's the third Monday of the year, people will get their bills from Christmas or the holidays, and they don't like that. They also realize on Blue Monday that they didn't complete they haven't started or they dropped out of their New Year's resolutions. So that's a real drag. And then it's just in a lot of parts of the world, it's just dreary. The days are shorter, on our side of the world anyway. And people just kind of get depressed. So this is why we have our Scrapbusting challenge beginning on Blue Monday, because we want to make it a happy, fun, exciting time where you're not depressed about all this stuff and that you're excited about the time that you can spend during this particular season, Scrapbusting season, just getting organized so that you're all prepared for the rest of the year. And then in the end, you're going to have a gorgeous quilt. And that is the highlight. That's the best part of it, that we have this quilt that we love when we're done. We haven't spent a lot of money on it, which is even better. So it begins that's when we'll open up registration. And then it'll actually start on February 4th. So those of you who are listening right now, this is the exciting part because you can pre-register, you get a better deal. Then if you don't, or you didn't hear about it in time, you can still register. You still come on board. It's not, it's not too late. And then once we start on February 4th, even if it's February 4th and you haven't registered and it's February 10th, you can still do the 30-day challenge. You just have to do it on replay rather than live. And there's a couple things you'll miss out on, like our live chats and Zooms and things. But you can still get the mission accomplished. And that's what we want to aim for here. So we're going to have, when we sign up beginning February 4th, we're going to have a scrap busting party where we're all just going to come together and I'm going to just scrap bust with you for an hour. We're just going to go and start sorting through. I'm going to show you how I pick what I do, scrap busting for this challenge. Okay, so that's the first thing that we're going to do. Then the quilt, as you can see, this quilt, it looks challenging, but I am telling you, it's not. It is foundation pieced. I will provide templates, but I'm telling you, if you want this to happen, foundation piece it. I'll show you how. It only has a small, the pieces are rather large. So it's not really hard to get things accurate when you're piecing the block part, the foundation part. When you put it together, that's where you need the help. And I'm going to show you how to take a look at this. I mean, these are perfect. And I don't even have to think about it anymore because I know how to do it. I know how to put them together so that I don't have a bubbly center, which that can happen. Or, I don't have the center off or the points floating. They're right smack together. So that's that part of it. I'm calling it foundation piecing simplified because it really does, I think, make a huge difference on accuracy. Again, I'll provide templates if you want, and I will show you how to cut your pieces if you want, without using the foundation piecing. I can't guarantee you're going to have the same results though. So I really encourage you to try it. This is, like I said, 30 days. So it's going to be a month of motivation, one scrappy step at a time. Simple cutting instructions on how to get those odd shaped pieces, not hard. And I'll walk you through the process. If depending on what your level is and how much cutting makes you crazy, if you want something a little more specific, we'll do one method that's very specific to the diamonds and the triangles. We'll do another that's a little easier with just some cuts here and there, and voila, there you get your pattern or your pieces. So anyway, I'll show you all that stuff. That will be in the challenge. We'll do these through Zoom. That's where we'll have Zoom sessions where we will do this. Not a lot. I'm not going to overwhelm you with Zoom sessions. They will be recorded. If you can't make it, you can watch the session later. And you can ask questions. We'll have a show and tell at the end. Hopefully everybody will be able to show something. We had so much fun with the 12 Blocks of Christmas show and tell. So I would love to encourage you to do that too. So anyway, that's just for those of you watching. Today is the opening of scrapbusting season. And on the 13th, of course, our Night Owl Quilting is at night. So on the 14th, check back. We'll send out an email. If you want to sign up right then, I am ready to have you join me. It is going to be a blast. So that's that. So let's get to today's project. Do we have any questions?
Were there any templates for the last year Embracing the Scraps?
Embracing Your Scraps, there was not a template. There is a pattern, and it was a foundation pieced pattern. I did tell you in the pattern, I gave you the dimensions on how to cut your pieces, but there were not templates for that particular pattern. It's just foundation piece. It's just the one little block. So if you want, if you bought the pattern, if you want to create your own templates, what you could do is print out the foundation pieced pattern. Just print it out. You need several. And then you will cut out each piece and add a 1/4 inch to the outside of each one. That's going to give you your templates. So if you want to do it that way, without doing that, use that foundation pieced or foundation pattern, the paper pattern. And like I said, cut out a 1/4 inch around the edge of each of these pieces. If you look, there's 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2. This is the same one. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the same one. So there's 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7. There would be 7 templates that you would cut out. So if you cut 7, made 7 paper pieced or paper foundation patterns and then cut those out, that will work too, and you'll create your own templates.
What kind of paper do you use?
I just use copy paper. I just put it the cheapest one that I buy at Staples, because you just want a flimsy paper. I do have in our foundation piecing course, and we'll have another course coming up. I talk all about foundation papers and all the different ones you can try. But I'm telling you, my favorite one, above all the ones that you buy, that all the ones that insist that they're the better one, regular old copy paper. That's my favorite, and it works really well. I do have a tip in there on how to make that copy paper more perforatable. And I'll show you that in the course as well. But I just used my little perforating blade, and it makes a huge difference.
We'll be able to use any AccuQuilt dies for this.
AccuQuilt dies. I don't know the size. No, I don't think so. No, I don't know, because I have an AccuCut machine, but I don't have any of these particular pieces, so I'm just not sure. I'll take a look and I'll see. If I do come up with anything, I'll take maybe, but I'll have to look at the pattern. I didn't think about that, but that's a good question. Let me write that down. Can you write that down for me? Thank you for asking that. I'll check and see. I did not think about that. That's a great idea.
Donna, first timer from Wisconsin.
Welcome, Donna, first timer from Wisconsin, our second home.
And Barb is back on her feet after 2 weeks in the hospital.
Oh, Barb, I'm sorry you were in the hospital. I'm so glad that you're back and that you're able to at least join in on our session, and hope you're feeling better.
Happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday. I mean, that's, no fun to be not feeling well on your birthday, but I hope that, hope things are looking up. Quilting makes me get better real quick. So anyway, welcome back.
And Janet said she's one of the people that's excited to see this because she's one of the people that recommended it.
Well, Janet, I was going to bring your name up in a minute, so you jumped the gun here. I was going to thank you for bringing this up about the Lemoyne Star. So hang on just a second, and we're going to get started on this.
How do I find measurements for the sash sheet and cornerstones for 2024, embracing the scraps?
Okay, we have a pattern for the Embracing Our Scraps. And if you go to joyfulandmerryquilting.com, click on store, the pattern is there and all the information is in there. It's really a great pattern. And it does have, even if you make a different quilt, the borders and the instructions for putting it all together will work for other patterns as well. So it's kind of a good resource. It's not very expensive. Okay, so let's get started on this. Janet Hedrick, I don't know how to pronounce it. Janet, I'm thinking Hedrick. She introduced me to this tool, and she has made me so happy that I tried it. As I said, we have people that send us emails and say to try, I'd like to try a particular product. And Janet said, have you ever heard of this? And I hadn't heard of it. Now I looked it up, and this is one of those things. It's by Deb Tucker, and any of you know the Tucker trimmer. Deb Tucker I love her. I love her videos because they are so straightforward and easy to follow. She starts and she stops, just at good, understandable places. I'm readily able to follow her instructions. I start and stop my videos as I do it. Anyway, I looked this up because Deb was the one that created this tool. The video was like 13 years old. So this is not a new tool out there. And there are a few things that I kind of came up with that if you're interested in purchasing it and learning how to make the blocks, come to Night Owl Quilting, because I did come up with a couple of different things that helped me to use this tool so that it worked really well. So first of all, for those of you who don't know what a Lemoyne Star is, this is a Lemoyne Star. Okay, you can see it has, the light is kind of washing it out. There we go. You can see that it's got two contrasting colors. You don't have to make those two contrasting points of the stars. You can make them all the same if you want. I think it looks really pretty when you do it this way. Now, this I did by hand. What
material hanging on there? Looks funny.
Sorry, I got scrappy stuff all over the place here. Okay, this was the first hand quilted sampler that I did many, many years ago when I first started quilting. I took a class from a lady named Pat Abbott, and she was in Springfield, Illinois, and she was a former teacher, and she was teaching quilting in her shop. She opened a shop once she retired, and this was all done by hand. We had to cut the templates with scissors. We had used cardboard. I mean, pencils. We marked everything with a pencil, and then we hand quilted all the pieces. And I got to tell you, my hand quilting is pretty darn good on here. But anyway, I loved it. I love my friend Pat Hickey and we had kids the same age, and we just needed a break from our kids. We had little 2-year-olds. And we just decided that we were going to go and take a quilting course. And so we made this, and Pat Abbott, the teacher, showed us how to put everything together. Look at that. But it's all done by hand. So I knew when I poked my needle in, I knew where it was going to go and where it was going to come out. There wasn't any of the guesswork that happens when we're using our sewing machine and we don't know for sure if it's going to hit the right spot. So this was it. But here's the problem with the Lemoyne Star. If you look at this up close, there we go. We have what's called Y seams. or set in seams. And that scares a lot of people because as you can see, this triangle right here, this one right here, it has to fit in with those two star points. This corner, all the four corners, has to fit in to the star points. So what you do is basically you assemble the star points, then you sew up to here, you mark it with a pencil, and then you, and then you sew across here. That's how you put it together. And it takes a long time. You cut out the pieces, then you put them all together and to get this effect. I love it. Now I can do it on the sewing machine also, but you got to pin right, you got to mark, every single point in order to get it correct. Okay, so, probably, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, I had someone contact me and he said that his mother was dying. And he said she has all these quilts that she is in the process of making for us and for the grandchildren. And he was really emotional about it. And he's like, I just want to finish. Can you help me? And I thought, oh, I mean, geez, like what? What do I need to do here? So he told me he needed 6 quilts. He needed 5 quilts. One was a king size, 2 twin size that were already in the works. They were log cabin quilts. And then 2 other twin size for 2 other children. The 3, the king size and the 2 twins, were Lemoyne stars that his mother had started. I'd never made a Lemoyne star. So I'm thinking, oh boy, that looks kind of hard. But I did it. I made all of these quilts and I fell in love with the Lemoyne star. Now this looks like a Lemoyne star here. This is actually more of a hunter's star. This is not a Lemoyne star, just because of the way that the star is positioned. This is the Lemoyne star. So the whole point of Deb's tool is to make this Lemoyne star easier, more doable than all those set in seams and marking and all that stuff. So what does that mean? Well, it means that she has split the squares and she split the triangles in half in order to make this into 4 quadrants. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 quadrants, and that's how you create the star. Okay, so you can see in order to do that, you got to split everything up. Actually, it's in 8 pieces, 8 triangles that go together into 4 quadrants that go together to create the block. Okay, so it sounds really complicated, right? Okay, I'm going to show you what I did. My stuff is all underneath my table. Okay, so here are the samples that I created just to start. This tool will make a Lemoyne star anywhere from 3 inches, which is this one, up to 12 inches. And this is a 10-inch only because I wanted it to fit on my board. This is a 6-inch. Okay, so if you look at this, let's see if can we turn the light down a little bit so we can see this? If you look up close, you can see there's a seam diagonally on this piece, and there is a seam vertically on this piece. So our triangles are actually 2 triangles, and our squares are actually 2 triangles. But when you look at the block, it's the Lemoyne star block. These pieces are still diamonds. They're not cut in any different pieces. So this is the issue right here, is getting these to work right. What Deb has done is she's taken this whole block, and when you finish with it, it's oversized. So your background pieces are way bigger than what you need. And trimming it back is a cinch. It just trims back 1/4 inches around the edge. I'm going to show you on this black one just because it's a little easier to see. I'll show you these first. But look at these. Look at that little tiny one. And that little tiny one has a center that is perfect. This one, this is the 6-inch. This is the one we're going to be doing in Night Owl Quilting. Center is perfect. You can't see it here. It's hard to tell, but anyway, they come together. There's no gap in there. They come together absolutely perfectly. Now, what I did was, Deb says that when you make this, you can either use, the 2 different background fabrics, or you can use the same background fabric. It doesn't matter. So on this one, I actually use the same because it was so small. I just used the same background fabric. In addition, I added those two, the light and the dark for the star points. Now on this one, I used two different background fabrics. You can see that where the split is, you can see the, hopefully, yeah, there we go. You can see where the split is. I've got two different, they're still the same line. This is a strawberry lemonade fabric that I have a ton of, and I have a lot left over. And so I was using up those scraps. But you can see that there's two, but it still looks really pretty, doesn't it? Okay, now look at this one. I'm going to put it on the black, just so it's a little easier to see. This one, I used the same fabric. On the larger one, I used the same fabrics. But look at, I mean, I have to tell you, this tool gave me a perfect Lemoyne star. But again, there's a couple things that I did that I'll tell you about that's kind of hard to do unless I show you right now, and I'm not going to. But I will walk you through the process on how to put this together, and it is really fun. So
what is the difference between the two stars you're talking about, the Hunter star and this one?
The difference between the Hunter star and this block is, you can see the Hunter star is right here, but the block actually has extra pieces in it. The block is not the Hunter star. The block is actually a different piece, and the Hunter star is like a secondary pattern, where the Lemoyne star is the block. This is the block. If you want to add anything to it, you can, but this is the block. So if you can take a look at this, you can see, look at my points. I mean, the points around, there's a 1/4 inch around there. And honestly, I didn't work real hard to get that. I did what Deb said in her video and in the ruler instructions. She tells you what to do. Now, if you look at the ruler instructions.
Are we going to have the ruler, or can I paper piece it?
You have to have the ruler to do it. It's not going to be paper pieced. So you can just watch if you're not interested in purchasing the ruler at this point, a little pricey. But if you want to just give it, take a look when I do it, I'll show you exactly how to put it together. Then if you think you like it Monday night, then you can go buy the ruler. If you want to do it right with me and you want to have the ruler ahead of time. Now, I did put the links in the description here. There's a link to this, and I'll tell you the supply list. There's I put those links in there in case you want it. Mine came really fast. I got it off Amazon. It came really quick. So this is the ruler. Now, if you can see, it's a huge ruler, and it does a couple of things. It has this part. Oh, can't see it. You have this part right here. Oops. That we will use. This is the part that we use for our triangles. I mean, our diamonds. This part is if you want to do just templates and make the Lemoyne star with the set in triangles and squares, you can use this. I didn't do that, but that makes for a really big ruler. So, that you need a little bit of space. This is like, it's about 12 inches. It's 12 inches from top to bottom. So it's kind of a big ruler.
Just to clarify, we have the ruler for the challenge quilt.
Oh, for the challenge quilt. Okay, that's totally different. No, you don't need the ruler for the challenge quilt. The challenge quilt is foundation pieced, and I tried to do everything so you don't have to buy anything other than participate in the challenge. So to try and keep it minimal. But this is different. We're done talking about this. This is just introducing a tool for today. So sorry if I wasn't clear on that. Oh, this behind me, you'll have to watch the replay because I can't go back and tell you everything. But this is our Discovering Stars Among the Scraps 2025 Scrapbusting Quilt Challenge for Joyful and Merry Quilting. This is the pattern we're going to be doing. We are opening up registration at Night Owl Quilting on Monday, the 13th of January. And the actual challenge will begin on February 4th. So watch the beginning, and I talk all about this, but this is going to be really fun. It's just funny that the two blocks look a lot the same. I didn't plan it that way. That's not what I intended, but Janet had told me about this ruler, and that's what I planned to do for today. And then this quilt, which again looks similar, but it's not at all the same as the Lemoyne star. Totally different. You will not need the ruler for this. It's just going to be, you will need to participate in the challenge. So you register for the challenge. There's a fee for that, but that's all. And then everything will be foundation pieced or template pieced, whatever you want. So this is totally different. This is just my demo for today. And then on Wednesdays, I'm going to do demos periodically where I just show you different products people have suggested. And then Mondays, we'll put those products into action at our Night Owl Hangouts. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. I'm so excited. I haven't talked to you in so long that it seems like I have so much in my head that I'm trying to get out, and I think you understand what I'm saying when I might be a little confusing. So I apologize for that. So anyway, back to this particular block. Now, again, I'm not going to demo everything at this time because I need to do it all by itself, and that's why we're going to do a Night Owl Quilting. But I want you to know that we're going to do this one in Night Owl Quilting on the 13th. This is the 6.5 inch unfinished 6-inch block, and really, really cute. Now, I will give you the measurements for the 10-inch block. It's the same process, the same procedure to go through. All the steps are the same, just the size of the pieces are a little different, but you may want to make a larger one when we're doing it. So I'm going to give you both the instructions for the smaller one and the larger. It's just easier for me when I'm demonstrating to do something that's smaller. It's easier for you to see. It fits into my camera area. But I will, again, the process is exactly the same. I will give you the dimensions for this. So you will get an email for next week's Night Owl Quilting, and it will have all this in there as well. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is what you'll need. First of all, the ruler. You'll need it. It's called the Rapid Fire Lemoyne Star Ruler. The link is in the instructions if you're interested. Now, if you take a look, there are a ton of instructions on this, and I went through all of them, and I'm going to just give it to you in a nutshell. So watching usually is a little bit easier, but this is what it is. Now, I will tell you that it's a slippery ruler because, it was 13 years ago. They didn't have all the good stuff. I sprayed mine with Grippy, and this is my Grippy. I'll put the link for that in the description as well. But I sprayed it with that just to give it a little bit of a non-skid surface. You can also use that tape that people use, the medical tape. What I didn't like about the medical tape was the way this point is. You are basically using this tip way down here, mostly. So that's where you want it not to slip. And I found that the tape made it a little bit wobbly. So I like the Grippy a little bit better. The other thing is you can just keep your hands steady and hold it as you're trimming. So, it's totally up to you. You don't have to do that. I like Grippy. This will last me the rest of my life. I mean, it has a ton of Grippy in there, and it comes off if you don't like it. You just take some Gooby Gone and you clean it off. It comes off perfectly. So anyway, that's my suggestion with that. So what you'll need to make this 6.5 inch block is you'll need 2 strips. You can see these are the 2 that I used. See, they are 2-inch wide by minimum 16 inches. I cut mine 17 inches. That's a little bit extra. That will give you enough to make the star points for 1 block. Okay. So that's what you'll need. 2 of this. This is why this is scrap busting season. We are using our scraps here. You don't need to buy fabric to make these blocks. And just think how cute this would look to have all different stars all the way through, just like this one. Look at how fun that is. And I'm actually going to show you in this one, in the challenge, how to make this 3 different ways so you get 3 totally different looks to your quilt. So that's part of it. That's another teaser. The other thing you need is you need 2 strips. And these strips are actually 3¼ inches wide by minimum 16. I cut mine 17. You can use the same fabric. I chose to use 2 different ones just because that's what she said. And I like the way it looked. I like the way that it came out with the 2 different fabrics in there. I like that scrappy but organized scrappy. So that's what this is. But let's say you don't have a whole lot of these. Just get yardage. You probably have a background fabric. I don't know how much you'll need, depends on how big you want to make your quilt, but you can just cut yardage and use that, use the same fabric for all of the background strips, and then just cut a whole bunch of 2" by 16" or 2" by 17" strips for your star points. That's for the 6.5" block. Now, the nice thing about this is she has a real handy chart in here, right here. And she tells you for the finished block size, 3 inches all the way up to 12 inches, what size strips you need. So for the 10" one, your star strips need to be 2 3/4 inches wide. So 2 3/4 inches wide, and they need to be at least 21 inches long, which means if you have a fat quarter, you can easily take the fat quarter and cut those strips, those 2 3/4 inch strips. So again, I'll put that in the description. Give me a minute afterwards, and I'll go ahead and add that to it, your supply list for next time, and then we'll send that out in an email as well. But 2 3/4 inches by 21 inches of your star fabric, 2 strips. Okay, 2 strips for 1 block. They can both be the same if you want, or you can do it the way I did it, and you can make 2 different ones, whatever you want to do. So that's all you need. That's all you need for one block. And then, of course, we're just going to practice. So don't use anything. Don't get your good fabric out and cut it up and then be disappointed. Just use some scraps you have. This is not a lot of stuff, and you can go ahead and make it. Now, one of the questions is, did I find that it was more difficult to make the smaller block as compared to the larger? It really wasn't. I didn't find it to be any different because Deb has these little markings on the ruler right here, and you use those markings, and it doesn't matter if you're doing a big one or a little one, you still lay the ruler flat on top and cut. And so I just thought it was really simple, no matter what we did with that. So that's that. Now, the other things that I used for this, I used my pressing marker, and I did put a link to that. They're really cheap. They last. I love them. Now I have the 15 millimeter, the 10 millimeter, and the 6 millimeter. This is the 6. The 6 is oops, got some thread on there. This is the 6 millimeter. It's small, and then the 10 is wider, and then the 15 is also even wider yet. Anyone works. It doesn't matter which one you get. You just fill it up with pressing solution. Couple of cautions. These are very inexpensive. I don't know where they come from, but some of them, when you open them up, they turn the opposite way that we're used to. We nearly got out of vice trying to hold this down to try and open it because we didn't know. And when we finally figured out, we just had to turn it the opposite way. So test it out with yours. Now, when you fill them, this one in particular, the tip comes out, so you can actually replace the tip if it gets old. But this top, I'm not going to do it here because I don't want to spill it. But the top comes out, and then you fill it with your pressing solution. Put the top back on. It looks like when you look at it, when you take the top off, it looks like there's a little teeny hole in there. It's not. Take all that out. It'll be a nice big hole. You just fill it up with your pressing solution. Some of them open from the bottom, some of them open from the top. Acorn makes one that's already filled. It's a little more pricey, but if you want that, it's same thing, same product. Do it yourself this way, or Acorn where it's already done for you, totally up to you. So I use that. I think it's essential to get these really flat, perfect points. I just like using the pressing marker, and those of you who have come over to the pressing marker side, I think we can all attest to that. Okay, the other thing you're going to need in addition to your ruler is just some kind of a straight edge. This one will work. You just need a ruler that you can use to cut for your beginning cut. I used this one, the 6-inch wide, just because I needed a little wider than what I had here for the larger block. This works really well. Anyone, it doesn't matter. OmniGrid, any of them work good. You will also need, if you're doing the 6.5-inch block, this one, you're going to need a 6.5-inch ruler. Okay, I like this one. It's the Quilter Select because it doesn't slide. For the larger one, most people don't have a 10.5-inch ruler, so a 12.5-inch will work just great. So if you have a 12.5-inch square ruler, this will work good. That's kind of the basics that we have. We usually have a 2.5 inch by 12.5 inch ruler. We usually have a 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch, and then a 12.5. That's the basics that usually as quilters we start out with. Then you start buying all the other sizes, which I do and I love, but you don't have to. These work well.
Somebody said on Amazon they saw the ruler. One says plastic, one says acrylic. Is there a difference? Or same price? I think they're the same.
I think they're the same. You know, it just kind of depends on who's selling them in the Amazon market. Because this one right here, this is from Deb's site. I bought this directly from her site. I don't know when, you know, not too long ago. But then I did locate it on Amazon. And this one is, what's it say? Well, they're all the same. The instructions, if it looks like this, if the card looks like this is the one I'm talking about. So I don't know, acrylic or plastic, I don't know.
Some people call them the same. They just use them.
Yeah, I think people use them interchangeably. Any other questions? I am really excited to show this to you. As I said, I mean, it really was fun. And I think that it makes a great scrap project. So we'll do that. But this is, you know, again, once we get started on this one, I think you're just going to love it. I think that that if I have to pick which one, this one's probably easier. If you're just starting out, and I like the look, I like the way it all comes together. My only thing with using these, you probably would want to put some kind of a border or sashing around the edge. You can hook them together, but then you have to be really careful to make sure that everything matches. So, you know, that's just kind of the par for the course when it comes to using star points. But I want to make it easy for you, and that's kind of why I've done it this way. That's it, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Happy New Year. Make sure, again, that you check the supply list if you're interested in the Night Owl Quilting Hangout. You can also watch everything. Just watch the replay if you don't want to be there for the live. And I will see you on.
Somebody said they're new, they don't have a lot of scraps.
Okay, if you don't have a lot of scraps, if you're okay, I will give you a little hint since you're all here. If you're working on this one, the discovering the discovering stars among the scraps. If you don't have a lot of scraps, there is an option to use one layer cake and yardage. And I'll give you that. I'll tell you how to do that and how to cut that. So that is a great option for those of you who don't have a lot of scraps to start with. Find your favorite. Now this, actually, I have to tell you, this was made from a layer cake. And the fabrics that I used, it was just a favorite layer cake that I bought with nothing in mind. But I was really excited when I found this pattern that I was able to use this for. You need a layer cake, you know, and I'll talk about that in the scrap, in the scrap busting. But you can use yardage, you can use a layer cake, you can use fat quarters, you can use whatever. Just if you don't have a good stash. So I'll show you how to do that. You don't want to overbuy, which I tend to do, but I'll show you what exactly you need in order to create this and still get that good scrappy look.
How much background fabric do I need for the 10-inch block?
For the 10-inch block, this one, you need 2 strips that are the star strips. Okay, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I probably didn't tell you the background fabric. 4 1/4. 4 1/4 by 21 inches, at least 21, not less than 21. You have to have at least 21 inches. An extra inch is good. So 4 1/4 by 21 for the background, and 2 3/4 by 21 for each one of these. So you need 2 background strips. You need 1 and 1. Okay. Be sure and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I will see you again. Huh?
Laura, good luck on your surgery Monday.
Oh, Laura, good luck on your surgery Monday. I hope everything goes well with you. And welcome again to our newbies. I hope you join us again. We have lots of fun in Joyful and Merry Quilting, and I would love to have you be a part of our community. So thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll see you at Night Owl Quilting, or watch the replay. Check your email. Everything will be there. If you're not on our email list, sign up, just so that you get all those announcements when we do send them out, when something new is available. And there'll be a lot of good stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks. So thank you again. I am always trying to be joyful. It's so easy. You know, Christmas season, holiday season is fun, and New Year better. Oh, I love every part of it. So I'm always trying to be joyful, but I will always be merry. Thanks again for joining me, everybody.